On July 19th, 1977, the world teacher, the Christ Maitreya, head of the spiritual hierarchy, emerged from his ancient retreat and is now in the modern world. With his disciples, the masters of the wisdom, he will inaugurate the new age of synthesis and brotherhood.
Good morning and welcome to our World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM, presented by Teresa on behalf of Share International New Zealand. Continuing on from last month's programme, we have two more book reviews to share with you today. The first one, sourced from the May 2013 issue of Share International magazine, is titled The Art of the Beautiful, and is Carmen Font's review of MAITREYA'S Mission Volume 3 by Benjamin Creme. The beginning of life ahead for humanity is simple in its foundations, but requires a deep inward look and right preparation. Maitreya offers a helping hand on what to pack for this auspicious journey, advising us on the essentials for the future and what we should leave behind because it belongs to the past. Thus equipped with our best achievements in every field and aware of the challenges ahead, humanity can embark on a new, just life for all, with meaning and purpose. In MAITREYA'S Mission Volume 3, we are given indications on how to stand on our own 2 feet, but also equipped with the kind of inner knowledge that triggers and nurtures change in every area: economic, political, social and environmental. MAITREYA'S Mission Volume 3 expands upon Maitreya's priorities in its very first chapter. There are many nuances to the well-known food, education, shelter and healthcare basics, since in order to provide these essentials in a consistent manner, men and women must strengthen their sense of brotherhood through a political system that guarantees non-aggression and peace. The role of the United Nations is crucial in this respect, not only because it will represent the true parliament of the world, but also for its managerial role as distributor of the resources of the planet. Benjamin Creme reminds us of the difference between a world government, which will not exist as such, since Maitreya will not head up any organisation, and a world parliament in which the United Nations is expected to be powerful enough to act in the name of humanity, a debating chamber to air and settle international problems. In order to avoid the mistrust that feeds the sense of separation and, as a result, the lack of sharing, and therefore justice and peace, we are advised to cultivate qualities such as goodwill and its loving peers, harmlessness and detachment. These inborn qualities can and will be properly expressed with the new education in the new age, since children and adults will be educated in the laws of love and life. But Maitreya's presence in our midst will potentize that goodwill. He will confirm in them, men and women everywhere, their attitude to life, and will so potentize it that he will build a world opinion against which no government on earth can stand. The life that awaits humanity in the New Age, as the previous books, MAITREYA'S Mission 1 and 2 highlighted, is aware of its incommensurable potential in every field of human endeavour, and confident in its deep bonding. This attitude, properly trained by the self, and with the inspiration of Maitreya's presence among us, will bring both solace and delight in the joy of living. Travelling will be easier and faster, cities will be beautified, and people will make their life a work of art, and this will find expression in the architectural field with the creation of new structures, many of which will be extraordinarily beautiful and new. There is an indisputable beauty quality in MAITREYA'S Mission 3 in every one of its chapters, to the extent that in every section, and for most of its subject matter, the idea of the beautiful permeates the whole book. Life ahead will be beautiful because Maitreya's words here point at further internal developments within us that allow life to be not merely pleasant but radiant. Maitreya's mission does not only consist of alleviating the many forms of suffering and spiritual deprivation in the world, it aims too at making human life worthy of living every day. But before this can happen in full capacity, our house, our planet, must also be cleansed. Chapter 2 is devoted to the challenges of the 21st century, which, apart from the impending economic and political crises on which Maitreya's mission too focused its contents, is essentially a crisis of the environment. Without a proper ecological balance, planet Earth would cease to exist. And since humanity has abused and is abusing the environment, the work of the Space Brothers has long been fundamental in avoiding further damage. Life on this planet would be utter misery were it not for the help of our Space Brothers, who neutralize this pollution and render it harmless within karmic limits. This is in fact what we have witnessed in recent years with increasing UFO sightings, and even Maitreya's star with its extraplanetary nature that alerts us to Maitreya's emergence. The details and full repercussion of Maitreya's emergence on the day of declaration is the focus of Chapter 3, in which Benjamin Creme's master explains the actual experience of Maitreya's presence among us. The immensity of this event, which is precipitating now, acquires an intimate dimension that is worth revisiting at this time. "I have said it so many times," writes Benjamin Creme, "but never until this moment, and probably not at this moment, have I been able to grasp the enormous impact of that, the enormity, the newness, uniqueness of this event." We can also read in this chapter a long succession of miracles, from visions of the Madonna to the Hindu milk miracle and the crosses of light, that offer a highly informative perspective on the original and inspiring ways in which hierarchy has been helping humanity from all traditions, cultures, and frames of mind. It helps the reader to have a better grasp of the full dimension and the gradual approach of Maitreya's emergence. They, the signs, show them that God is concerned with humanity. They are indications for those who can understand that there is a plan and that God never forgets about the world. If you are a devout Catholic, you will see that in religious terms. For many years, Maitreya appeared to Orthodox religious groups worldwide in order to introduce himself and appease any possible negative reaction to his presence. These appearances to religious groups from many different traditions are also indicative of the fact that Maitreya cares for every corner of the world and every recess of the human heart. Truly, the age of miracles knows no end. But the miracles of Maitreya are not a hindrance to performing miracles ourselves. Chapter 4 reproduces the comprehensive and groundbreaking interview of Benjamin Creme with Roland Olson on the Ageless Wisdom teachings. So much and so important esoteric information had never been revealed in quite this way before. Benjamin Creme lays out the reasons why humanity is on planet Earth, what is our purpose here, and the actual process of growing in conscious awareness and, as a result, in happiness. An expanded version of this interview has been reprinted as a booklet, and reading it over and over again never exhausts the import and wealth of its content. In this celebration of human beauty that is Maitreya's Mission 3, art could not be missing from its pages. Chapter 5 includes a long appraisal of several master painters with their most relevant contributions in the artistic field, as well as their ray structures and point in evolution. These artists were inspired by Maitreya, and it is also interesting to note the influence on their work of the rays of the nations in which they were born. Remember also, writes Benjamin Creme, that it is not the rays themselves which make someone great or small, it is the point in evolution which is relevant, and the consequent use of the rays. In Chapter 6 we move from art to science. The science of the Antakarana is probably the most important science of the coming time. a science that is as yet unknown to humanity, but it will be the coming science of the mind of the new age, the science of building the bridge between lower and higher man. The precision and the beauty of this building process, in which we weave the threads with our own souls, bears witness to the illusion of separation. The gradual building of this conscious awareness tells us that there is no sense of the separate self. This is reality, and this is why, by losing oneself in service, we build the bridge of the Antakarana, which at the same time results in the creativity of service. With so many marvels awaiting humanity in the immediate future, and while participating in the precipitation of these events, it is no wonder that many are anxious to see them in place right away. Chapter 8 features another seminal theme that is worth reading over and over again, the art of waiting. Benjamin Creme's master not only offers his wisdom about the relative concept of time and our comprehension of it, but here we are also given Benjamin Creme's insight into the actual dynamics of waiting while acting. Time has very little to do with physical time, but rather with our use of it and our impulse to serve. The events of the world, what we call the past, which are still happening, the future, which is happening now, have to precipitate. This statement may seem odd and paradoxical, but it is neither of these. Losing our sense of our lost past and our uncertain future will relieve us of the burden of the waiting, especially now with Maitreya knocking on the door. Maitreya's Mission Volume 3 includes another most interesting and useful feature, an updated appendix containing the list of initiates. Besides the curiosity that these data trigger in readers, we can go beyond the numbers themselves and study this information, bearing in mind the activity of the disciple, his or her time frame, and contribution to the world. With this last volume in the Maitreya's Mission book series, Benjamin Creme reminds us how the energies that we are given at a certain time can be used or misused in the creativity and beautification of life as an ever consciously aware experience. You're listening to the World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. This next review from the October 2013 edition of Share International magazine is by Carmen Font of the booklet The Ageless Wisdom Teaching by Benjamin Creme. Carmen Font begins by saying, "Many travel the world looking for answers, others follow a path of religious instruction in search of enlightenment, and some delve into an arduous study of philosophies in the pursuit of knowledge. Any visit to a library or bookshop opens up myriad possibilities for the occasional onlooker or the serious researcher. Where is the truth about life to be found? Is there any such thing as truth? And what is life, for that matter? It surely has to be a difficult subject. That is why we prefer that a third party, a religious group, a political ideology, provide us with some hints and rules about it. No, wait a minute. We are grown-ups living in the 21st century. We no longer need any religious or political ideology to rule our mind, because historically these have proved to be problematic. We are atheist, for God's sake, and we believe in the incommensurable power of science or the language of art. We are staunch supporters of the most noble ethical values, devoid of political prejudice, and commit ourselves to social work, since there are so many people in the world in need. So we apply ourselves to our own understanding of oneself with the help of our sophisticated intelligence, our knowledge about the world, and the strength of our emotions. We strive to do our best and be respectable citizens, but we still lack answers. Well, we have them, but there seems to be a different bunch of answers here and there, and thus we become tolerant in the best of cases, because there is not much one can do to impose one concept of life on others, except writing a book, giving lectures, or starting a revolution. Imposing oneself in any case is outdated, and only zealots do it. We have to make the best of what we have and try to make sense of it. Still, sometimes it looks as if life is all about living, and that all of those philosophies, Western and Eastern, forms of art, political systems, religious communities, scientific inquiries, and social endeavours hide some glimpse of the whole picture. They contain some truth. They are built on the same foundation. Yes, life does have a meaning. It does indeed, and the meaning has always been there, albeit hidden from the public eye. It has taken a gradual process of understanding on the part of humanity to make this meaning more accessible to an ever larger group of people. Before knowledge can transform itself into wisdom through the practice of love and the conscious experience of living, it has to be grasped. For the sake of our own integrity, we cannot receive more than we can apprehend. This meaning of life is the ageless wisdom teaching. The most important truths are often expressed in simple terms, without unnecessary ornament or mental disquisition. They are deep and overarching. Benjamin Creme presents these truths in a long, groundbreaking interview with journalist Roland Olsen about the basic tenets of the ageless wisdom teaching. So much and such important esoteric information has never been revealed in quite this way before, in booklet form. Benjamin Creme begins by defining the synthesizing nature of these teachings, which are, in a nutshell, a succinct compendium of humanity's spiritual legacy. The ageless wisdom teaching, or esotericism as it is often called, is not a religion. It is not, strictly speaking, a philosophy. It is not an art or a science, but it has something of all of these. You might say that esotericism is the philosophy or the science of the evolutionary process. One may wonder about the intricacy of this evolutionary process. Does it entail evolving from apes to men, from uncivilized peoples to learned communities? No, evolution here refers to the growth in consciousness, not to the evolution of physical form, both for humans and for lesser kingdoms such as the mineral, the vegetable, and the animal. Our evolving planet Earth and its inhabitants rely on this ageless wisdom teaching, this esoteric understanding that has been occult, hidden for many centuries. It has slowly but surely come to the fore thanks to the pioneering work of disciples such as Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, Helena Roerich, and Alice A. Bailey during the late 19th century and well into the early 20th century. Now, with the imminent appearance of Maitreya and the fully fledged inauguration of the age of Aquarius, humanity is in need of a deep understanding and awareness of these ageless teachings of wisdom. Benjamin Creme tells us that these are as old as humanity itself. This is the teaching of a group of men who have gone beyond the strictly human stage and have entered the next kingdom, the spiritual kingdom. They are the masters of wisdom and the lords of compassion. They are men and women like us who have expanded their consciousness to include the spiritual levels. In short, the wisdom of the ageless wisdom teaching lays out the reasons why humanity is on planet Earth, what our purpose is here, and the actual process of growing in conscious awareness and, as a result, in happiness. As a race, our purpose is to spiritualize matter. We are spirit in matter, in incarnation at this relatively low level, although from the mineral, the vegetable, or the animal point of view, it is a relatively high level. The evolutionary process, therefore, is one by which we spiritualize the matter of our own bodies, and thus matter itself. We achieve this by informing the matter of our physical, emotional, and mental bodies with the qualities of the soul, which is perfect. Benjamin Creme does not make any shortcuts in explaining the mystery of life while inviting us to participate in it. And there is nothing more mysterious and intriguing than the nature of God. God, in esoteric meaning, is the sum total of all the laws and all the energies governed by these laws in the manifested and the unmanifested universe. So God is impersonal. Nevertheless, that transcendent God is manifest in every aspect of creation, including ourselves. We are not separate from that creation, from God. God is also the great cosmic being who ensouls this planet. The only difference between the masters and us is that they are God-realized and bring their consciousness into complete at-one-ment with themselves. We are still engaged in this process, and for this reason the Ageless Wisdom teaching aims at opening our eyes and awareness to the different laws governing our constitution. Despite the fact that we do not control the laws that bring us into incarnation in the first place, and neither do we have any say in the nature and the degree of karmic load to resolve in a particular life, these are the realms of the great lords of karma, we can make good use of the energies and karmic circumstances given at the present time. For this reason, the Ageless Wisdom teaching devotes a section on defining the qualities and the interactions of the seven rays, as well as the functioning of the law of cause and effect. The process of rebirth is the mechanism that allows our evolution of consciousness, and, as Benjamin Creme explains, groups of souls are brought into incarnation through the two great laws, the law of rebirth and the law of cause and effect. The dominating law is the law of cause and effect, and scientifically you can say that it is the law of action and reaction, which are opposite and equal. This means that every thought, every action that we have under this law sets in motion a cause. This is how we make a living, obviously not in a monetary sense, if not a fortune. Humans had been led to believe that one is born fortunate or not, and that we are ruled or not ruled by destiny. Fate and destiny exist to a certain extent in the sense that these are the result of our karmic heritage and the decisions that our soul makes before incarnating. The ABC of life is a sound combination of predestination and free will. We are born free to choose our modes of living according to our given experience and wise understanding. No one is born or predestined to die of starvation or to lead a life of abuse. We are born with a set of predestined circumstances and the promise that life can and will be a fulfilling one if we apply ourselves to choosing wisely within any given scenario. The chapter Evolution and Initiation describes this process. The Ageless Wisdom teachings help us to understand our makeup, our relationship with hierarchy, and the interaction between these two. We are meant to be the best version of ourselves for the sake of others at any given time. This is, in short, true spirituality. In order to practice it, Maitreya says to cultivate three things: honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit, and detachment. Readers of Maitreya's teachings are already familiar with the rudiments of this practice, but for newcomers they serve as a useful tool and a revelation. In any case, the regular reader is inspired by revisiting these truths presented so powerfully. We have to understand that the word spiritual means the active betterment of life for all people. Spiritual is anything which brings a man or woman to a higher state of life. We would not do justice to this monograph by considering it only a tool for beginners, to distribute in fairs and lectures, although it is indeed an invaluable work to introduce esoteric wisdom to newcomers. It contains information already included in longer books by Benjamin Creme, but nowhere else can you find the same powerful impact of truth so fluently written in so little space. Creme spares no effort in presenting the small and the bigger picture, the origin of man as a metaphor and its symbolic representation in the story of Adam and Eve, the meaning of the Christ and the Antichrist, a review of the fundamental events in Maitreya's emergence, the prayer for the New Age, and a useful glossary of esoteric terms. Even for the long-time student of esoteric writings and the books of Benjamin Creme, the Ageless Wisdom teaching stands out as a basic reference, a rescue remedy in times of stress or doubt. Open it at any page and let it enlighten your path. That concludes the review by Carmen Font of the 76-page booklet, The Ageless Wisdom Teaching by Benjamin Creme. You can visit shareinternational.org and click on the Books tab to read this booklet online, or request a free hard copy by phoning 027 426 2018. And that's our programme for today. If you have any questions or would like to know more about the World Teacher, Maitreya, and the Masters of Wisdom, please visit the website share-international.org, where you'll find more information on the various aspects of the emergence. To inquire about books by Benjamin Creme, or our monthly free-of-charge newsletter, which contains extracts from previous Share International magazines, the number is 027 426 2018. That number again is 027 426 2018. Thank you for listening to us on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. And please tune in to our next World Teacher programme on Saturday the 9th of May at the usual time of 10 a.m. You can listen again to this programme and previous ones by visiting share-international-nz.info and click on the radio tab.